Hey, welcome to Just Be, sponsored by the Brotherhood Mike. We are now new and live on the radio, so we're excited about it. This is our first day, so we're excited. I'm going to just introduce Omar, who was going to be with me throughout this journey. So just want you to introduce Omar. Omar, talk to him and tell him who you are and
Yeah,
why
hey
we're here.
everybody. I'm Omar Morales, student at Dalton State. So I'll be joining Antonio during the live and all of that.
So today we are actually our theme is the soundtracks of survival, mental health and music. So we're going to talk about mental health and music and how they play a crucial part. But it's not going to be me and Omar. I actually have someone, a special someone, one of my friends, all the way from California, who's going to join us pretty soon. But I'm going to go in and go over his bio so you'll know who he is and know that he's legit. But when I tell you, I've been talking to this brother for a few weeks, and he's like, "Man, I want to do this because he writes music just about mental health." And it's so amazing the music that he writes. I just sat and listened to it the other day, just some of the songs he's writing and why he writes them. His name is Zack King from Los Angeles, California. But through deeply honest songwriting and unwavering mental health advocacy, he creates music for the moment when it's the hardest for you to find your words. That's the type of music he creates. So it gives you that time to just find those words when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling anxiety. And those are the things he explored in his songs. He explored anxiety. He explored suicidal thoughts. He explored healing. He explored hope, unfiltered honesty, just really allowing you to be able to talk and just hear your voice in the songs. So I'm so excited about him coming on. His goal is driven to reduce the stigma of mental health, and especially surrounding young men, especially surrounding our Black and Brown community. He is an amazing young man. So I want you to go on YouTube and just check him out. But I'm gonna go in and bring him in. He's in California right now, rating on us, and so we're just gonna have an unfiltered conversation today with Zack King. So we're gonna go in and bring Zack in.
Hey Antonio, hey Omar, thanks for having me.
Hey
Yeah,
Zack, how are
hey.
you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so excited to chat with you guys today.
And Zack, I've been stoked about you for the past 3 weeks. So ever since I got that email saying, "Hey, you should get Zack on here," I've just been pumped just to be able to talk to you and then listening to your music. Oh my gosh! I will tell people it makes you cry. It takes those moments. Sometimes you're thinking, "Man, I didn't even think that," and you put it in words. So it has been amazing just to really just get to know you and really just listen to your music. Oh my! I'm going to introduce you to Zack King. He's an amazing man. You have to listen to his music. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it will
I need
change.
to. Yeah, I
It
haven't
will
heard of him
change the
until
way
you
you see
told me.
life. Yeah,
So
he's
Thanks,
amazing.
guys.
So, Zack, I know we got questions for you, so we're going to dive right into the questions.
Sure.
If you're ready to dive right in, if you
Yeah,
not,
let's
if
do
you
it.
got something that you want to tell people about you, I would love for you to do that also because we're
Okay.
already in Chattanooga, so people don't know you, Zack. They've never
Yeah.
seen Zack King. They know, so I'll give you an opportunity first if you want to just share some stuff about you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm super excited to dive in. And just the main thing to know about me is I've been on my own mental health journey for a long time, and I've really struggled sometimes to deal with those negative thoughts and feelings. And music has been one of the most cathartic outlets in my life, specifically with portraying exactly what I've been going through, whether it's anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. And my goal is really just to help other people because I know there's so many people out there that are struggling and don't know how to express themselves. They don't know how to help themselves. So my main goal is just to help people through those tough times.
And Zack, I am going to ask you before we dive into the question. So I'm needing the intro song. I'm needing a good intro song. And I thought about it when they asked me that because I can use one of yours. And if you will decide through the next couple of weeks what's a good intro song that you will allow me to use for every broadcast that I'm going to have to
Yeah.
actually be that intro song on the broadcast, I would love that because then
Yeah.
it'll continue to share you throughout the months and years that we're still connected with Zack. So I'm going to go to that first question. This first question is a doozy for you. So, what song or artist helped you survive one of the darkest seasons of your life? And why did it speak to you when nothing else could?
Yeah, one of my favorite artists right now, his name's Cameron Whitcomb, and he's really great about talking about addiction, about suicidal ideation, mental health in general, and he specifically speaks to men too in some of his songs, and I think it's really kind of shown me like, wow, like there's other people out here that not only feel this way, but are making music like me, that want to help other people. And he's so vulnerable with his story and what he's been through that it's really inspired me to not only keep on making this kind of music, but keep on going in my own mental health journey as well.
Have you found it? And this is off the questions that I have, but I have a question because you said vulnerable. Have you found it more just impactful to be vulnerable instead of just being so like to yourself? Is it more impactful to be vulnerable, especially when you're dealing with mental health?
Yeah, that's been the hardest part about this journey is sometimes the things we go through are so personal, and it can feel really hard to not only just talk about it, but to talk about it on social media, talk about it on podcasts like these. So it's something that I've kind of battled with, but at the end of the day, it really just matters to me to show other people it's okay to be vulnerable. As men, growing up, we're always taught to keep our emotions to ourselves, to bottle those things in. And I know that's something you guys are wanting to talk about too, and how important that is. And that's really my goal, is just to show people out there, specifically men, that it's okay to have these feelings. It doesn't mean that you're not as much of a man as the guy sitting next to you. We're all going through similar things right now in this crazy journey. So just being okay with being vulnerable is a really good first step for everybody, I think.
And Omar, I know we talk about this all the time on the Brotherhood Mike podcast of just learning how to just be. So do you have any input that you want to throw in there about being vulnerable, learning how to just be? Because I know we talk about this. We talk about it, especially. So in case you don't know, we do have a podcast called the Brotherhood Mike. And then the Brotherhood Mike is literally 5 guys in there. We've added a young lady in there, but it's 5 guys in there. And we just talk just unfiltered, raw, and I'll allow them to just really, and they're on the campus of Dalton State, so I'll allow them just to talk about their lives and where they are. So that's why I thought you were important to be here, because I want you to connect with those guys over the time that we get to know each other. So do you have anything that you want to throw in there, Omar?
No, I agree with Zach on this. I mean, it's understanding your own emotions really does help you become the man that you're supposed to be, because I feel like that divides what a good man is and what is like a bad man. Someone who doesn't really understand their own emotions and doesn't know how to regulate what they're doing in the world. Because if you don't understand yourself, there's no way for you to really get to your full potential.
Gotcha. So, and that's part of why we call this Just Be. It's really teaching men and young men how to just be themselves and be able to be vulnerable and be able to say, you know what, I can talk about this emotion and it doesn't make me less than a man.
Yeah, or just hear from other people.
Hear from other people.
It's normal.
So Zach, do you think young men use music to express emotions? When they don't feel safe expressing out loud?
I hope so. I know it was a long time before I really found music to be that cathartic outlet for myself. Not even just a songwriter, but just a listener too. And I don't know exactly the kinds of music a lot of these young men are listening to nowadays, to be completely transparent, but I'm hopeful that they can find an artist or someone that is speaking their language, speaking what they're going through, because a lot of the times when people are struggling with mental health, we really isolate ourselves. We feel like we're the only people going through those things, when in reality, there's so many other people out there that are struggling with the exact same things that we're going through. So finding that community, finding someone that can really express themselves through music has been a great outlet for me, just to feel like, okay, I'm not the only one going through these things.
And I listened to your music. You do it really well.
Thank you.
It's amazing when you first send me one of the songs I'm listening to, I'm thinking, wow, he talks about everything. But it also made me think like, okay, how many of us as men do that? But how impactful would that be to hear it from someone else when you're going through that I feel this way. I feel depressed. I feel sad. Because most of the time as men, we're not allowed to say that. We're told, you got to be the man, you need to be strong. You need to go to work. Don't be crying. But then we forget that there's times we need to be able to say, you know what, I want to fall apart. And I'm feeling this way. So I've been listening to it, and I will tell you this. Your music has just impacted me. I always listen to, I don't know if you know who Cal Hume is. He did the song I'm Fine.
Yeah.
And that was my first song really dealing with songs with mental health. And then all of a sudden I meet you and I'm thinking, wow, this is even more impactful than him. And yeah, I like the song. I'm fine, but listening to your music, and I just told Omar he definitely needs to start listening. So I'm gonna send him a link to your music because it's impactful for young men uh, when they don't realize they need it. Because even some of the songs I listen to, I'm like, I didn't realize I need to hear that. And I'm thinking, because I teach mental health, and I do this all the time, but I didn't think I needed some of the things that I heard in some of your songs. I'm like, yeah, I do feel like that still sometimes. I do have those sad moments,
Yeah.
but your music actually let me acknowledge that. So thank you for that also. So with
Thank
that
you.
said, some people say music can heal, while others believes it can be a trap for pain.
Hmm.
How do you experience it? Do you think it can heal, or do you think it's a trap for pain? I've heard both sides. I've heard people say
Yeah.
it heals me. I've heard people say it traps me. So what do you think about that?
There's two sides of the coin to this. I think both are right, and there are certain ways that I believe that the first one is really the most accurate is music heals. And the reason why I think that is when we're really struggling and we hear something on the radio like we're doing today, or we hear a song that really relates to us, it's like, wow, I'm not the only person going through this. This is great to, like we were talking about before, great to feel that community of other people that are going through this. That's very healing just to know that you're not the only person. I think if you're continually thinking about that once you've gone through the healing and you continually go back to that song that really kind of triggers something for you, then maybe you can stick in pain. But ultimately, I think 90% of the time, like music is always healing for us. It really just depends on when you know that you've been healed and when you know that you're kind of sticking around for the wrong reasons, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Omar, I'm gonna let you answer because I always want to give you that opportunity. And I saw
I'll
you
just let
perk
everybody
up
talk.
when you saw it. I saw you perk up. So
Yeah.
do you think it heals, or do you think it's a trap?
I think it can be both because, like, I mean, music is a fundamental part of everybody's life. You know, you always got a song that you attribute to a certain emotion or maybe a memory. Some songs help you, like, experience that journey and
Mhm.
figure it out. You know, you listen to the same song over and over again. It takes you right back to that moment. But I mean, there are other songs where they play. I mean, at a church, you get a choir. You know, at a funeral, they're playing music, and there are certain songs that take you back to a death
To those
or
moments,
maybe a
yeah.
loss or something that really affected you. So I think it's kind of a mix of both, and it really just depends on how you use the music.
Okay.
Definitely.
So here's a good one then for you. If mental health had a playlist, what would that playlist be? Give me
That's a
three
great
songs that you
question.
would think that playlist would be. If you had three songs of mental health at the playlist.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so hard because there's so many great ones out there. But yeah, the guy I was talking about at the beginning of this podcast, Cameron Whitcomb, he has this brand new song actually that came out called Kingdom of Fear. And it's
Mhm.
really about everything we're talking about today. It's about um, having that fear of portraying, or sorry, having that fear about wearing your heart in your sleeve, especially as a man, about who you are. And I think it really just kind of encapsulates exactly what we're talking about here. And not to be selfish, but I would love to put a couple of my songs on this
No,
top
throw them
three
in
as
there. And I don't know if
well.
we can pull
Yeah,
one
the
up
plug.
to listen to it
Yeah,
for a brief second. I don't know. We probably can't. But next
yeah.
time I will have your song up. But go ahead and give me some of your songs. It's probably the ones I like too.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite ones is my suicide prevention song called "Over and Over,"
Yes.
and
Okay. Sorry.
yeah, a lot of us as men, we can go through these feelings, feeling like we're not good enough, feeling like there's no hope for tomorrow, feeling like we don't want to be around anymore. And this song really kind of, through the verses, it describes that feeling, that awful feeling of not wanting to be here. But then in the chorus, it talks about what about those people that might miss you? What about those stories you
Yes.
haven't told yet? Yeah, so I would love to throw that one on there because I
Oh,
really
that's
do
that's my
think.
song. I love that one. So
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear it. And yeah, to be selfish again, I'd love to throw the third one as one that is one of the first songs. I think it was actually the first song I ever released. It's called "The Man." Actually, it's about being a man and going through mental health and not feeling like you can be yourself. So I think
yeah,
that's perfect for this podcast. It
exactly.
talks about how you feel like things are not going well, but you still have hope. You feel like things are changing, things are trending in the right direction, and then talking about how you're the man, you can do this, and using that
Exactly.
term, be a man, but in actually a positive light about be yourself, and you can do this. So
I don't know if I can throw you on the spot. I see your guitars behind you and everything. I don't know if I can throw you on the spot to give us a little glimpse of your music.
I would love to, but the problem is I'm worried that the quality won't turn out as well whenever we do this
I
online.
got you. I respect
But,
that. I
yeah.
respect it. So
But if
next
we
time
want to
I
do it in
have
a
to get
future
you on,
one,
get you to do
yeah, I would love to do that on a future one where I can actually set up my equipment and then it can sound really crystal clear.
Okay,
and
so that means I'm going to have you on again then because
Yeah.
we're going to do that. Yes.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Well, here's a question for you to think about because I know you told me and you said you used two of your songs in there. Which song would you say best represent the chapter of your life now?
I love this question. Yeah, I'm very happy to say that, I've been going through a lot of things in my life, but I'm in a really good spot right now. I think I've really found my groove. I've been seeing a therapist. I've been treating my body right. I've been doing the things that really make me happy. I always challenge people out there. If you're not doing well, try different things. Figure out what works well for you. What works well for me might not work well for you guys. But just to get back to the question is realizing that even if you are going through things, you're always going to be all right. So I would love to throw my song "We're All Right" in there. It's kind of the flip side of the coin to over and over thinking that things aren't going your way, but then realizing everything always works out in the end. You just got to stick around for that extra day.
Yeah. And for me, I always go to music all the time. When I'm sad, when I'm having days, I'll put my headphones in, and there's playlists that I have that once that playlist comes on, it energizes me. It makes me feel happy again. Because what I've learned, and the crazy thing is what I've learned is that I have to go through this to be able to teach it. So when I was going through my school and the counseling and all this stuff, the one thing I realized is the more I went through it, the more I was able to teach it and talk about it to other people. But same thing with you. I know you've gone through things, but now when you're talking to people, it's like, wow, that gives me that avenue to say, okay, you know what? You may not address it the same way. However, I know what you feel like. I know what it's like to be at this point. But it also helps you with your music because all of a sudden you're writing songs that says, you know what? I know what it's like to not feel like a man. I know what it's like to go through it over and over and over, and it don't feel like you ever get to the point. It always feel like you're at the wall. But think if you've never gone through that, you wouldn't have the songs.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes that gets a little crazy when you say it like that, but sometimes we have to go through those things just so we can help other people. So
100%.
it's just been amazing just hearing and watching your story as I've been looking at it through your songs. So I've been watching your stories through songs. So I've been just going through your music like, okay, this tells me something. There's something going on, but I don't because I didn't know you. But then it was like, okay, these songs told me about it. So if you could put your music in any genre, would it be hip hop, rock, country? What would you throw your genre in, or would it just be your own set genre that you say this is mine?
Yeah, genres are so fluid nowadays. Like it's not like when we're in the '90s, where it's like this is alternative rock, this is rap or hip hop. Everything is kind of a blend. I feel like nowadays. So, I have two different genres I kind of play around with. I do a lot of the soft alternative rock, sometimes for these mental health songs. I have some pop punk stuff that I do as well. That's a little bit more grungy about relationships, with mental health, with about just everyday situations. So I have to say it's a blend of some pop punk, some rock, some soft rock. So I would love to be able to fit it in one genre, but I've been.
But yeah, I understand it. It does it, and that's good. It makes it eclectic. So it's all
Thank you.
I love that. So I always tell these guys, and he's gonna hate me that I'm getting ready to say this. So one of the things that we had in our last podcast is like, I want to know your story because our stories matter. Your stories in music. Like I can hear your stories every time I hear one of your songs now. And now talking to you, I see that story. Omar has been asked this question, like, the next time we do the podcast with all the guys, I want them to tell their stories. How important do you think stories are? And then Omar, you can answer this too because I've talked to y'all about it. How important do you think stories are, whether it's music or whether it's just telling your story?
Oh man, I think it's honestly, I think it's like the most important thing. because you can sit through a lecture, you can sit through a speech about someone just talking about mental health, like giving you stats, giving you this, and this. But when you actually hear it from someone and you actually hear their lived experience, it's like, wow,
Yes.
like that is so relatable. Like they actually have gone through it. And it honestly like wants me to listen more and to kind of put myself in their shoes, which also helps me relate back to myself. So I think storytelling and mental health really go hand in hand.
Yeah. And Omar, because I know I've talked to y'all about just storytelling because
Yeah.
I believe stories matter. And I think that's what men lose because women do it all the time. They'll tell their stories. We don't. We
Yeah.
sort of take those stories and bury them. So what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Zach on that. And a lot of the time for men, I think the stories only come out when it's in private, when it's someone you really, really trust.
Mhm.
But it takes a lot of courage to like own who you are and be able to share that with people, um, courageously and just let people know the unfiltered truth of who you are because there are other men around you who don't know that you're going through the same thing that they are. And your story ties you to the experiences that you have and the pains that you carry. And I feel like it's kind of a responsibility of someone who's really made it in life to be able to share that with someone and help them understand that this is just part of life.
Yeah. And
I love
I'm
that.
gonna apologize because I didn't do this. I'm gonna formally introduce you to this young man. So I will tell you this. Omar did not talk like this when I first met him. He came into the podcast and he was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this. But this wasn't the Omar that I first met.
Sure.
What I've noticed in the past month or two is that he's completely changed. Like, I'll tell you this, and he probably is going to hate me for telling you this. He was leaving the facility one day, our gym one day, and I see him walking across, and I'm like, bye. And he said, I love you, man. I had to respond. I said, I love you back. But in the back of my mind, it threw me off
Sure.
because I just
Yeah.
remember our conversation. But it was a genuine.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, wow, something has changed. And then when I told him we were coming on with you, he was like, I'm coming. I'll tell you this
Yeah.
morning, I was thinking he ain't gonna come up here.
No, I was supposed to be
early
at
in the morning.
work.
And he showed up before going to work. He showed up to say, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm there. Because this matters to him.
Yeah.
Watching him now in the gym, man, this matters. And I know what's gonna happen when he starts hearing your music. It's gonna matter even more because there's things that you have in there that I know he's gonna be like, wow, this is amazing. So I want to apologize for not formally introducing him and telling who he was because it's been a great young man. But I also want to let you know that you're going to impact a lot of students on this campus pretty soon
Thank you so
because
much.
I'm going to play it in the gym. I'm going to play your music around. I'm going to put it on the podcast. I'm going to put it on here because it's that important. It is that
Thank you.
important because I see it every single day working in the community where we're dealing with young men and they're not able to deal with themselves. But then to meet someone and say, you know what, I now have a friend that we can connect, that the music will connect to you. So please know that. I'm going to turn it over to him because I'm going to give Omar the next 3 questions because I know he's been sitting here silent.
Yeah.
He's been trying to do that for the longest, but I'm not going to let that happen.
Well,
Omar,
I'm just letting him
thank you.
speak.
Sounds
So,
great.
Many men were raised to man up instead of opening up. How has music given you permission to cry, forgive, heal, or even experience, your own feelings?
Right. Music is such a therapeutic outlet, especially for me. And not only music, but the power of writing down your thoughts and feelings is a very underrated way to deal with what you're going through. And that was actually one of the big turning points for me in therapy. Was my therapist actually suggested, he's like, we've been talking about all this and you've been making some progress, but have you ever tried just writing down how you're feeling? I was like, yeah, like that's going to make a big difference, right? But it actually did, and that's really how I got into music and songwriting was I was writing down my thoughts and feelings every single day. And I was like, wow, like I feel so good about this now, expressing myself. And that really helped me be like, wow, these could be like some lyrics. These could turn into a song. And that's really how it got started. So I think, just doing that has been a really, really big game changer for me in terms of mental health.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. When life gets overwhelming, do you isolate with your headphones? Do you reach out to people? How do you know when music is helping versus when it's becoming a way to avoid your emotions?
I love that question. Yeah, I've experienced that
Love
myself.
your-
Um, and there's a balance, just like everything in life. You can't lean too much into some things at times. You gotta find what works well for you. And there were times where I was just relying too much on music, too much on isolation, and being with myself. And having those people in your corner, having that community is also such an important thing. And finding those people you can express yourself with, finding those friends you can just joke around with and be yourself with, can be super cathartic. So understanding when, okay, this is a great time for me to really be introverted and to think about my thoughts and feelings and to listen to music, but also, okay, this is a great time for me to surround myself with others, not only those that are just going through what you're going through, but just people that you love having in your life. So finding out what balance works best for you is very important.
And I'm gonna break in before his next question because I'm gonna ask you a question because
Go for
I
it.
want to know now because I'm curious. Do you mind sharing just a little bit of your story?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so it's without taking up too much of you guys' time. I started struggling with mental health actually when I was around 10 years old, and it's not a usually typical story because people kind of experience that more throughout high school and then later on in their lives in college and becoming a parent, working in the real world. Are you guys still there?
We're still here.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But when I was 10 years old, I remember I was in Boy Scouts. I went away to a Boy Scout camp, and I was really excited to be with all my guy friends. And one of my friends just was uncontrollably crying, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And he was talking about how he was homesick, and I was like, "Homesick? What is that? Like, I've never heard of it." He began to describe it to me, how I was just missing home, and I was like, "Wow, why? What is that? That's crazy." And I actually started feeling the same way. And long story short is I came back from the trip and I thought the homesick feeling would go away, but it didn't. And I just kept on feeling hopeless, depressed, anxious. I couldn't get out of bed just at 10 years old. I didn't want to live anymore when I was talking with my therapist. And, it was a really eye-opening experience for me. And it really kind of forced me in a really young age to start understanding mental health, who I was, not only as a human, but as a man. And the long story short, that kind of led me on this whole journey ever since then, really to express myself through speeches, through music, through community. So that's just a little gist about it. But I actually call myself a keynote artist, where I do a lot of public speaking, and I tie my music that you guys have listened to together. So I've been going all around LA to schools, communities, universities, mental health conferences to share my story. So that's just a little bit about it. But
and so I'll be in LA in a week. So I definitely need to figure out a time to just say hey to you and to
let's do it.
And if you're doing something when I'm in LA, please let me know because I will jump there and just come see you.
Yeah, let's do it, and I love that.
Yes, sir.
We could go to a concert or something.
I know if you have a concert, I'll definitely be there sitting on the lawn in the grass. Because in case people don't know, LA is beautiful. So I'll give it back to you, Omar.
Yeah. If you could sit down with one musician, living or deceased, and ask them one question about mental health, what would it be and why would you ask it?
Oh, that's such a good question, man. I've been talking about the same artist the whole time, and I have to stick with that. I would love to talk to Cameron Whitcomb. He's around my age too, which is really cool, and he's gone through a lot of the same things as me. He specifically talks about addiction as well, which is something I'd love to ask him about. We all have our vices, we all have things we lean on, and I think it's important for people going through these things, these mental health struggles, to not lean on these bad addictions, but to lean on people, to lean on others in this time. And I would love to ask him more questions about that and how he's dealt with that going through it. So
now I'm going to take one because I'm going to answer that question, and you're going to answer that question too. So get ready. I had two people when I was writing these questions out for you. I had two people that I thought of. One was Marvin Gaye, and the other one was Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
because Michael Jackson, because there was so much he endured at a young age 5, when he first started music. But if you ever listen to his song, he wrote, and it wasn't called mental health then, but he wrote songs that dealt with mental health, like Human Nature, all those songs. He wrote songs that really impacted, but we didn't think of it that way then.
Right.
And so I would really want to just would want to sit down with him and pick his brain. Like, Michael, how did you feel when this happened? But Marvin Gaye the same way. Like, he endured just life as an adult that we don't realize. And then for his death, it's like, okay, how did you feel about just life, just life in general? I would want to ask those questions to them, because I guarantee you, because for them, they weren't allowed to talk about mental health like we are.
Right.
It wasn't like we're doing now. Like, they didn't have these moments. So, but if they could go back now and be able to talk about it, I would want to hear their perspectives. Well, who would you?
Well, I mean, I'm horrible at remembering artist names, and I don't really know. But if it would be one, it would probably be Mac Miller, the guy that we played at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not as relevant to me, but I know through his lyrics and stuff, he does talk about a lot of the things that I've experienced. And I wonder if I could sit in a room with him, just us, like, in the studio or something, and not be around the music and just talk like people.
Gotcha.
I wonder what kind of stories he'd have to tell. Like, what could we actually like talk to that would be the same?
That would be the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be eye-opening. Yeah.
And I guarantee you, he would have some amazing stories.
Yeah, probably. A lot of crazy ones too.
Yeah.
What message would you give to a young man who's silently battling depression, anxiety, grief, or trauma, and only feels understood when he's listening to music?
Yeah. I don't want to just say the blanketed statement like, it's okay to not be okay, things will get better, because I'm sure these young men are probably hearing that. Yeah, exactly. And what I want to tell them that is to lean on the people in their lives that they love, that they trust, that they depend on. Because a lot of the times when I was growing up, I just, you can say things, but it's really important just to remember that there are people in your corner. There are people that love you, that can help you through these things, that probably have some really great advice too. And just to seek out those people. And maybe if it's not in your home life, maybe you can reach out to a teacher or a counselor at school. Maybe it's your coach for these young men. There's people in every aspect of your life that you can really lean on. And I promise you, they'll listen to you. And especially in this day and age now, where the stigma feels like it is breaking a lot more, I feel like these young men actually have a lot of people in their life that they can lean on. So just surround yourself with the right people. Be vulnerable. It's okay to talk about how you're feeling. I would say that.
A question for you: do you find that people are, especially men, are still scared to be vulnerable, to talk about it, to even express it? Especially, and we'll take 3 different types of men: that younger male, that 10-year-old, that high school male, and then that male that's gone into life, that married male who's like, I don't know how to be that to my friends or to the people on campus or now to my wife. I don't know how. Do you think we're still scared?
Yeah. I would really love to say no, but I feel like, men are still scared to talk about things. There's so many different things going on in our day-to-day lives where it's really hard to express ourselves still. And that's why I challenge people, there's so many different kinds of outlets. You just have to look, you just have to do the work. You have to find those people in your life. It's not always easy just to do it. And I think that statement I just made was the biggest eye-opening thing to me, is I have control of my mental health. I just have to figure out what I need to do myself too. So, but yeah, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people are still struggling in that way, but I'm hopeful that people can take matters into their own hands and figure out what works best for them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is not only that, but it's also the fact that most men don't know that they have an issue. A lot of it comes from childhood trauma or the confusion that they experienced as teenagers, and they don't really know how to express the pain that they have or the things that they've experienced. And then it just turns into, hate whenever you get older. So I feel like for most men, it might be not so much an issue of who to talk to, but whether or not it's worth it for them. Yeah. And I think that should always be an answer of yes, it's worth it, because every man is valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you don't get help, you're going to end up hurting other people.
Yeah.
When do you know is worth it, though? I know we're a little off the questions, but this is good. So when do you know it's worth it? Like, when do you know, okay, it's now worth the time for me to say something? When did, I know you said 10 years old, but I know 10 years old didn't give you the full gamut of it's worth it. When did you
Yeah.
really know this is worth it for me to share this with somebody?
It took me a long time. When I was like growing up, I luckily had some very supportive parents that like would help me
Mhm.
talk to people, help me talk to a therapist. I didn't know obviously it was worth it at that time. I was just starting life. It felt like,
Yeah.
but honestly, for me, it took a while. It took till I was probably in my early to mid 20s,
Yeah.
post college, when I
Mhm.
really started realizing, wow, this is worth it. Like, I need to do something about this, because I was struggling throughout my whole life. And post college, I really just started treating myself like, okay, I really feel like an adult now. I need to take matters into my own hands. I'm on my own.
Mhm.
So I really wish that I had that realization though a long time ago, because
Yeah.
the sooner you realize it, the better your life can get.
And I think a lot of guys don't realize it until college or marriage
Yeah.
or when something's falling apart. The
Hmm.
minute something starts falling apart, I was like, wow, why haven't I addressed this? And that's a
Exactly.
hard one to realize. When did you realize it was worth it?
I never really got the chance.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I figured it out myself. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess there wasn't a convenient time, so I made it my
So you
own
made, yeah,
mission
yeah.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it worked out, I guess.
I think mine is more once I started just going through life and I realized I haven't shared or haven't talked about the things that bothered me.
Or maybe
Yeah.
when you had kids too.
And then yeah, kids are a big one. So when I did have kids, it was like, well, I have, because I have two boys,
Yeah.
and it's always in the back of my mind, I have to make sure they're okay with understanding their mental health, but they're
Yeah.
okay with being vulnerable. They're okay with talking. And so
Responsibility.
I make that a point every single time I'm talking to them. It's okay to cry. It's okay
Yeah.
to say how you feel. It's okay for those moments when you don't feel like it's worth it. It's okay to talk about it. Yeah. So yeah, having kids would do
Yeah.
that. So
And I feel like that's a good point, because if you don't take care of it, then it's going to be a problem
yeah.
later.
Exactly.
Well, imagine you could create a song for the next generation of young men. What would the title be, and what message would it carry? And what do you hope every young brother would feel after hearing it?
I'm waiting on
Yeah.
this because I want the song.
Yeah. I've been cooking up some other songs. I can't give away too much of them
Okay,
right
okay,
now,
we got you.
but I would love to just kind of reference the songs that we were talking about earlier that I've written. I think for exactly what we're talking about today, the first ever song I released, "The Man." It's okay to be a man struggling. It's okay to
Mhm.
not be okay. Things do get better, and I loved in that song where I switched "Be a Man" into like a more positive light.
Yeah.
Be your own man. Be you make the decision on what that means to you. So for the next generation, I would love if they could listen to those songs that I've already released, and then hopefully this next year too, and I release a couple more, they can hear those ones as well.
And the question for you, like, I know you have music out there, and I really want to get it into the hands of these students because
Thank you.
I'm facing students all the time. I'm talking to students all the time, and I know they listen to all kind of music, but there's
Yeah.
something about your music I want to get in their hand. Tell me how I can do that. How I can get this in their hands, because I know I was going to say this earlier. I was going to say send a CD and we'll give them a CD. They don't have CDs. They don't
Yeah.
have it. But I wanted them to be able to really get your music in their hands. I know I can play it in the gym and I can
Yeah.
have it on our playlist, but I want to be able to get it so when they're at home and when they're in their cars. What's a good
Yeah.
way to give that to them?
That's one of the good reasons why kids these days have cell phones. They can search anything. So I'm all over the place. If they need to watch something, I'm on YouTube. I actually have a podcast. It's called Emo Explanations, talking about, I'm an elder emo, but talking about my mental health journey with my songs.
Okay.
My girlfriend hosts it actually, and she asked me questions like you guys are doing today about why did I write these songs, how mental health ties in with them. So
Okay.
yeah, I have a whole YouTube series on that. I have music videos there. If they're just listening, Spotify, Apple Music, you can just type in Zack King, ZackKing. My Over and Over song, my We're All Right song, my The Man song is on there.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Instagram. I post about mental health all the time with my music too. So TikTok as well, all those different places. So there's a lot of different outlets.
Well, then that helps because what the couple things that I'm thinking of for this new semester coming up, we have a announcement message board. I do want to put some of your stuff on there, whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's a song, so that students get a chance to see. Because for me, this is the most important thing for those students on campus. Yes, they can go to classes, they can do all that stuff, but mentally, if they're not taking care of themselves, we've done them a disservice because they go into a world and not knowing how to take care of them. So I really want you to be out there with that. And I want them to know that it's somebody real, because sometimes you hear about like a Mac Miller or something like that. You know him just in the name of who that artist is. But it's different when you know a person. Like I can literally say, or Omar can really say, I know Zack King. I literally talked to him. That's a whole different feel when we can say that. I'm like, that's my friend. I've only met him once, but that's my friend. I've talked to him. And this music right here really means something. I've heard his story. Like I couldn't tell you Cal Humes. I've never heard his story. I've never heard a Mac Miller story, but I've heard your story. I've sat and talked with you. So that's a different feel when I'm telling students this semester, like, hey, you need to listen to Zack King because I know his story and his story is real and he's authentic. So
Thank you.
I want that to happen. Do you have any further questions that you want to throw out there to me?
Well, I was going to say, you said you're an elder emo. Are there any,
I like it.
older emo songs that you would want somebody to listen to? Something that's really inspired you, maybe that younger version of you.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many different ones. Like I loved like All Time Low, Three Doors Down. Man, there's so many different ones. Even Rob Thomas, Matchbox 20. Like it's not super emo, but there's so many good 90s songs, and a lot of them, now that we're talking about it, do kind of talk about mental health. They just don't talk about it as honest and specific as us now because it wasn't as accepted. So, man, but I would love to kind of revisit that and find some good mental health songs in there now that we're talking about this.
That's great. Yeah. All right. Well, we got like 5 minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you this little closing.
Sure.
If this conversation reaches one young man who's thinking about giving up, what do you want him to know about his life, his purpose, and why his story isn't over?
Yeah. There are people out there that love you. There are people out there that are going to miss you, even though it might not feel like it at times. Your story matters just as much as the next person. You're unique. You're here for a reason. And just hold on to that feeling of hope. I wish people when I was growing up would tell me that there's more hope for tomorrow. It always just felt like there was no hope in general. So just hang on, just rely on the people that you love, rely on the people in your life. Remember, things will get better. And even though I don't know you, like we all love you. Like you're here for a reason.
I like, and I know he sort of jumped the gun because he wants to be done, but I'm not gonna let him be done like that. But
I thought he'd be longer,
no.
so I wanted to give him time.
We started a little bit late, so we'll give you that time back. So I still have questions. Please know.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah.
I got questions for you, Zack. So you
no
don't
problem.
Easy. So Zack, have you always lived in California?
No, actually, I grew up in Minnesota. So I was in Minnesota for a long time. Yeah, Minnesota. Yeah, so I was there until 2020. So I've only been in California around 6 years now, I think. So I moved out here like during COVID. I wanted to change. COVID was a really rough time for me. So as it is for a lot of people that went through mental health issues, I'm sure, being isolated, and I needed a change. I wanted to pursue music, and I thought it would be a great chance for me to try something different. And as you probably know, Minnesota is pretty much the complete opposite of California, so it's very different.
Complete opposite. Like, I mean, how do you do that? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we love it out here. It's pretty great.
Minnesota in the snow and all that stuff, or is California?
I would.
Yeah, that was the hard thing is seasonal depression is a real thing. So that was something I struggled with in the winter times, and it's nice in California. I really love consistency and structure. You pretty much get the same weather year round, so it's good for my mental health.
Good. And you said you go to schools and colleges and stuff like that. What was the last school that you went to? Was it a middle, high school, college? And then what did you talk about with those? What do you talk about with those students?
Yeah. I just did a mental health conference in Carson, California, um, and basically it was cool because I wasn't the only mental health speaker there. I got to hear from, I think there was a guy like the weatherman on the local news was there talking about his story. There
Okay,
was
cool.
like a veterinarian, and it's like, wow, like there's so many different kinds of people, but they're all going through something, and it was just a really great sense of, no matter who you are, you're
Mhm.
going through similar things, and it was great. I got to talk about my story that I kind of mentioned with you guys earlier, a lot more in depth though, like talking about what happened after that, the bad times, but then finding hope, finding what worked for me, sharing my songs throughout it, and then just being able to talk to people after and hearing how, like, wow, this story or this song really related with me. It's so cool to know that the music and the message is making a difference.
Gotcha. Well, Zach, I'm not holding you any longer. Omar are going to talk a little bit more, but
No
it has
worries.
been a pleasure to get to
Yeah,
know
thank
you.
you.
And you've already told me you're coming back. And when you come back, you're already going to do some music for us. I
Yes,
just
sir.
think people need to really hear your music. And please let me know the song that you would want to be on this broadcast when we come on each month that we will throw up there so people can actually start hearing you. I just
Yeah,
believe that this is not just a one-time thing. That I want people to hear you. I
thank you,
know
sir.
your girlfriend's probably told you like people need to hear you. They need to hear what you're doing.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
I'm gonna just take that same sentiment. People need to hear you. They need
Yeah,
to hear your voice because little do you know you have a really loud voice that people need to hear about mental health, and it
thank
is
you.
impressive. It's impressive just to hear your music and now to meet you. So it has been a pleasure to talk to you. We will definitely do this again. I'll connect. I do know to not have you come on at 7 a.m. in the morning because you're in
Yeah,
California.
appreciate it.
I do know that now. So we'll keep it around this time so we're not having you all up and around. Because when you told me that, I was thinking, I didn't even think about it. It's
Yeah,
7 o'clock. He
no
can get up.
worries.
And I was thinking, no, that's not fair.
I need my
So
beauty rest,
thank
so
you for that. But it's been a pleasure talking to you. Me and Omar are going to take it from here. But Zach, you have a great rest of your day. And hopefully, when I'm in LA and I get down the 29th, when I'm there, I get to just meet you. Even
yes,
if it's
I'd
just
love
a
to.
cup of coffee and then you drink coffee and leave, I would love to just meet you.
Let's do it. I just wanted to say really quickly, thank you so much, both of you, Antonio and Omar. Like, this has been a fantastic conversation. And Antonio, I wish there was someone like you when I was in high school. Someone that talked about mental health the way you do. Like, that was not a thing at all. So
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah,
doing is
definitely
amazing,
special.
and yeah, and obviously you already affected Omar's life in a positive way. So I can only imagine all the other young people that you've affected. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you, Zach.
look
Yeah,
forward to seeing
thanks,
you and
guys,
talking to you again. Yes, sir.
for sure. See you soon.
See you soon. So, Omar.
I didn't mean to jump it.
No, you're good. No, I like you jumping the gun
Yeah.
because it makes me talk now.
It
No, Omar. So, what did you think about that?
was awesome.
What was awesome? Because I'm gonna tell y'all this. Omar like to give one word answers, and I don't allow him to ever do that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have him talk now. What did you really think about meeting Zach and then hearing his story?
Well, it kind of reminded me of what I was saying about like Mac Miller. I mean, this person has done something better than I have.
Yeah.
He's an artist. People flock to him for things, and a lot of the time, I like to sometimes think that people who are above me must have life different.
Mhm.
They're doing something better than I am, and I must be failing in some way or some capacity. But then you hear about the things that they deal with, and it's like, yeah, they're human too, just like
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of the time it's hard to really kind of get that through your head that not everyone is a god. Not everybody is this superhero compared to you. That they're all human. We're all gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And we're all human.
we're all
And
human.
I will tell you this about this young man: he always downplays himself. It's always on the lower
I'm
end of life.
realistic.
Like he just said, he realized. But if you only knew him, when I tell you he's amazing, and I'm gonna pump him up a little bit because I've got a chance to see him and just how amazing he is. He's really amazing. He really understands life. He understands the mental health side. He understands how to love. And a lot of young men don't understand that. If I could bring his girlfriend over here, she would tell you that he really understands how to love and how to be that man. Does that mean he's perfect? No.
No.
But I think he's his own superhero without him even realizing it. That he's already that Superman. And yet, even being that Superman, he has issues. Because if we look at the comic, Superman had stuff that would cause him to fall. And we all knew that. He had stuff that caused him to fall, but he was still Superman. He never lost being Superman, even though there was stuff in his life that could cause him to fall. I need Omar to understand that Omar's amazing. And yes, there's stuff in his life that caused him to fall.
Way to tie that in.
But he's amazing. And he needs to realize that meeting the Zack King is just like meeting the Omar Morales. They're the same, that they both have issues. They both have things, but there's something in their life that causes them to be just as great. So I don't ever want him to downplay it because I hear him all the time and I'll hear him say it. And one day I am going to bring him and his girlfriend on here so she can tell you just how he is, but she can also tell you just how she has to support him. And I'll bring my wife on because she has to say the same thing about me.
Yeah,
like the mental health side of knowing how to support a husband that deals with this all the time, that has to deal with himself all the time, but understanding that, and then they still love us as those women. I think sometimes that's a good picture to bring in, is that those women that actually support us in our mental health. So that's going to happen. Also, in the next coming weeks, we're going to bring the other guys on. I know they're not here. Yeah. And so when you get a chance to meet the other guys, that's going to be a show. Please know that. Please be ready for that because they come wild. As I told you, the Brotherhood mic is unfiltered. It's raw. And we really talk about learning how to just be ourselves, to be those great men, to be those men that have issues, to be those men that have problems, but how to do that well. So you're going to get a chance to meet these guys soon. And I'll just tell you that much, that when you see them all, be ready for that show because it's going to probably go fast and like a tornado in a whirlwind because they're going to say some stuff and they're going to talk and they're going to share their lives because their lives matter. You have anything else that you want to throw out there?
Well, I hope you have a great day. That's really it. I mean, take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
It's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
And we all have some journeys.
We all got some journeys.
What I will say, and Omar doesn't know this, I know they have to do their story on the podcast so people can't see them, but eventually we're going to share our stories here because as I was telling Zach, our stories matter. And for you all that's out there listening, I want you to hear the stories of not just someone like me that's older that is going to share a story because people are used to me sharing the story, but of a young man that can share his story and say, you know what, this is where I'm at. This is how I got to where I am. But then also of those other young men, of that young lady that we have on board that can say, hey, this is my story. So get ready to be able to hear the stories because, again, stories do matter. And I'm going to say this again. And the only reason I'm saying this is because his girlfriend is in the room. Eventually, she's going to share her story because I've already told my wife, my wife's going to share her story because there's a reason why we connect to who we connect to. There's a reason why they're in our lives. And in those stories show how those connections matter. So we're going to definitely share those stories. So with all that said, this has been Just Be, that's sponsored by the Brotherhood Mic. If you don't know, please go on the Brotherhood Mic. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio, wherever I listen to the Brotherhood Mic. There's some great podcasts on there where we've just talked and we're just raw and unfiltered. So please go check that out. Also, with Just Be, we mean that. I mean, when you leave and you're no longer listening to this, remember to just be you, to be great, to be amazing. And even with all the other stuff going on, just be you. And sometimes just being vulnerable, being able to say, you know what, I don't understand. And those are the great things about just being. So again, welcome to this new podcast, this new radio thing that's so new to me. So new to me. So today was amazing. So welcome to this new radio show, Just Be, sponsored by the Brotherhood Mic. Y'all have a great day and look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.